Welcome to Learn English Through Documentary, Female Empowerment Series. Today, we will watch the observations and feelings of Zahra Nabi, an Afghanistan female journalist after the Taliban regime took over Afghanistan, and her reason to stay in her homeland where female rights are severely oppressed. In this video, you will learn about the following content. The society atmosphere and the situation changed after the Taliban took over Afghanistan. The female reporter Zahra Nabi chose to stay in Afghanistan after the Taliban took over. There was a TV station established for women, but it was shut down after the Taliban took over. In addition, you can learn the following vocabulary: Homeland, responsibility, broadcast, archive, activist, illiterate, protest, demonstrate, refugee, depressed. You can also learn the following phrases: by force, come into power, and the sentence patterns: if clause as an adverbial clause, and that clause as a subject complement. We've designed 3 questions for the content and cultural knowledge. Finally, there will be 10 questions to help you review what you learn. Before entering today's episode, we have the first question for you. Nabi used to be a female journalist, but after the Taliban regime came into power, she no longer works for the press. Is this statement true? Listen closely. The answer is in the video. Now let's begin our video.
This is my homeland. My grandfather, my grandmother, and I was born here. This land is really a good land for us. In tough times, I shouldn't leave my land. I think it is a responsibility for us. Otherwise, homeland has no meaning. My name is Zahra Nabi. I'm a journalist living in Afghanistan, mainly in Kabul city. Every day they are becoming powerful, they are becoming rich, and they have everything in their hand. The people here keep silent because they cannot say anything, do anything against the rule of the Taliban. I cannot see any powerful one that can stand in front of them. I have less and less and less hope of Taliban to be changed. So I feel very bad, but I keep myself busy. I said, if you keep yourself busy, it won't depress you. So I am continuing collecting reports. Even I don't have anywhere to broadcast these reports. For me, it is archiving, and I hope that one day I could share with the people, with the world, that these people left behind alone and no one was taking care of them. It is not that Taliban let me work. They didn't give me a permission. I am collecting reports and other things. It's not really easy. But I am doing these things, sometimes hiding. In some press conferences, they just allow me. In some, they don't allow. They think she cannot do anything against us, and she's not as powerful as she can hurt us. 10 months before, once the Taliban came in power, I was really hopeful that this will be changed after 6 months. Because people were inside Afghanistan and they started protesting. They started complaining and they didn't want to accept. But the people left, the activists, the journalists, the one they knew, the one they educated, the one they were powerful, they left. And now I'm seeing around myself poor people, old people, children, mostly illiterate women, people just looking to feed themselves.
Did you get the answer? The answer is false. In the video, after the Taliban came to power, they sometimes allowed journalists to attend press conferences, and sometimes didn't. However, she continued to collect reports even though she had no place to broadcast them. Let's review the vocabulary of this section. Homeland. The word homeland consists of the words home and land. Home is a place where a person has his/her emotional support, and land is a place. Therefore, homeland means this place has a strong emotional link to a person. Afghanistan is Nabi's homeland. After having worked in Taiwan for over 10 years, he will return to his homeland next month. Responsibility. To Nabi, she thinks it is a responsibility to stay in her homeland. As a manager, you have to take responsibility for your team and make sure all members can finish their jobs. Archive. It is necessary to archive important documents. Broadcast. The word broadcast consists of broad and cast. During the digital era, through the internet, lots of information can be cast to places far away. Through the deconstruction of the words, we believe you can memorize the meaning of broadcast. Nabi could not broadcast her reports in Afghanistan. The radio station broadcasts music 24 hours a day. Broadcast is a verb and serves as the present tense, past tense, and the past participle of the word. Thus, when broadcast is used in passive tense, it should be broadcast. All kinds of music are broadcast by the radio station 24 hours a day. If broadcast is used as a noun, we could use it in the following example. Whenever we are driving, we can listen to radio broadcasts. Activist. The word activist looks similar to activity. When we see the suffix ist, means a person who is dedicated to taking part in activities is an activist. There is another word that has the suffix ist, and that is journalist. The word journalist consists of journal and ist, which means the person who writes journals. The activists, the journalists, the ones who were educated, the ones who were powerful, they left. Illiterate. The word illiterate is the opposite word of literate. The main difference between them is that illiterate has the prefix il, which means not, creating a negative meaning to the word behind it. The root leader means words, and the suffix ate makes the root into an adjective. Thus, a person who knows how to read is literate, whereas a person who doesn't is illiterate. I'm seeing around myself poor people, old people, children, mostly illiterate women. I wonder how much of the population is illiterate in the world. Before entering the second part, let's have a look at our question. Why did Nabi insist on returning to Afghanistan after graduating? A. Nabi thought she had the responsibility to bring her brothers and sister, who remained in Afghanistan, out of there. B. Nabi wanted to show her dissatisfaction toward the Taliban through protesting. C. Nabi stays in Afghanistan because she wants to do something for her country with her power. D. Nabi's dream is to return to Afghanistan to be a teacher. She had always been teaching at school and hoped to improve women's rights through education. Listen closely. The answer is in the video.
And then on the other hand, I see the very powerful group. On the first press conference of Taliban, I was the only Afghan female journalist over there. I asked Zabilah Mujahid about the situation of women. Women, if they are allowed to work, especially women in media, and women allowed to study. And his answer was, you should wait. Later on, we will announce. When Zabilah Mujahid said that you should wait, then I had doubt. They are like the past, but this time they changed and they became clever. They know now how to do it in front of the media, in front of the international community. But once they know that there is no one around to see them and watch them, they are doing very, very tough things. Doing protests and demonstrating, we cannot reach our goals. It is not easy and it's not working. I will continue fighting, but fighting, it doesn't mean that I will go and just fight in front of them, but yeah, I will continue. Just trying a little bit to aware the people that for their rights. If the community will be changed, if the people will be changed, everything will be changed. It is tough, but I know if we want to do something, we can do it. I'm really afraid sometimes. I feel that something will happen to me. Maybe they will put me on prison or jail or something like this. Hopefully, they won't send me by force. I really don't want to leave the country because I grew up as a refugee in other countries. We were in Kabul, Afghanistan, but we left because of civil war. I was really a child that cannot notice anything more than seeing around that it is all war, everywhere was destroyed. When Taliban took the control of the city, the previous time I was in Pakistan and I was going to primary school. In 2011, once my university finished, so I decided to come back in Afghanistan, in Kabul. My sister in Canada and brothers are in the United States. When they heard, they were shocked, and really they didn't expect me that I could choose back Afghanistan rather to be in other countries. I said, it's my homeland. I want to try and I want to go there and do my best. And they said that you're wasting your time. But at that time I didn't care and I came alone. I became a teacher in a remote area in the north.
Did you get the answer? The answer is C. Nabi stays in Afghanistan because she wants to do something for her country with her power. After Nabi graduated from college, she returned to her homeland, which was under the Taliban's reign, alone. Although her siblings living in America and Canada are opposed to her decision, she still wanted to try. So she returned to Afghanistan, first taught at school, and then worked as a journalist. Nabi knew the Taliban wouldn't give in to protests or demonstrations, but she kept on fighting. Little by little, she tried to make people notice that they have to defend their own rights. She believed that if we wanted to do something, we could make it. Let's learn the vocabulary of this section. Protest. The word protest is both a verb and a noun. The one used in the video is a noun, so there is a verb do added in front of it to stress the action of protest. If you are using its verb form, you can change doing protests into protesting. Demonstrate. When the word demonstrate is used alongside protest, you can imagine a group of people walking into the streets. Doing protests and demonstrating, we cannot reach our goals. There was a protest against the government raising taxes in the capital. The miners demonstrated against the corporation's terrible treatment. In the video, we can infer the meaning of refugee with 3 steps. First, we try to learn the meaning of the sentence. I grew up as a refugee in other countries. Next, learn the meaning of the next sentence. We were in Kabul, Afghanistan, but we left because of civil war. Finally, you can infer that refugee means a person who has to leave his/her own country due to war. I grew up as a refugee in other countries. There is an important phrase in this section. By force. The preposition by means through or via. The word force can be used as a noun, which means power or strength. For example, hopefully they won't send me to prison by force. Force can also be used as a verb, which means to make others do one's bidding by strength or violence. For example, hopefully they won't force me to prison. In this section, there is an important sentence pattern. If plus subject 1 plus verb 1, subject 2 plus will or can or may plus verb 2. This is a conditional sentence with subjunctive mood, used to state something might happen after a certain condition is met. For example, if I drink a cup of coffee in the morning, I can be energetic for the whole day. If the weather is fine in the afternoon, I can pick you up at your house with my motorcycle. If it rains, I will pick you up with my car. Auxiliary verbs such as will, can, and may are often added before the main verb in the main clause. However, beware that different auxiliary verbs might cause differences in the context. The sentence in the video is, if we want to do something, we can do it. Take the sentence in the video as an example. It used can to state being able to do so, but might not do it in the end. If we want to do something, we will do it. However, the meaning would turn out differently if we replaced can with will in the sentence. It means that we are 100% going to do it. The meaning would also turn out differently if we replaced can with may in the sentence. If we want to do something, we may do it. It means that we might or might not do it. The situation isn't certain. This is the final question. What made Nabi depressed and exhausted the most? A. Because her livelihood was in trouble, she had no option but to work for the Taliban. B. Because her career as a journalist came to an end and all her video equipment was destroyed by the Taliban. C. Because her colleagues protesting against the shutdown of Bono TV were sent to jail by the Taliban. D. Because every young person said they were leaving Afghanistan. Listen closely. The answer is in the video.
And slowly, I could join with media of Afghanistan. In 2017, finally, we could approach our dream, and then we opened Bano TV. It was for women, by women. The camera woman, the director, all of them were women. I thought that it's not real. I'm dreaming. You know, sometimes you're thinking that you're not in the earth, you're not in your place, and it means that you're dreaming. For me, it was like this. 15 August 2021 is again the date that I cannot forget. Taliban came in power. We shut down the TV station. Most of our colleagues, they left the country. Me with one of my colleagues were alone, and we packed all of the equipment and store it. It was really hard. Day by day, I felt very, very tired. Most things depressed me that everyone, the young people, all of them say, I don't want to stay in this country, I just want to leave. Then asking me that you are also wasting your time, you should leave the country. And this also really make me very sad, very depressed. But I'm very happy that I didn't leave the country, even I had opportunity. Still I have the opportunity to leave the country. Even in tough times, I can't stand. And these things, it makes me day by day strong. And I can see around me a lot of other girls and women. They stand and they are trying to live.
Did you get the answer? The answer is D. Because every young person said they were leaving Afghanistan. Although Nabi was very upset, after Bano TV was shut down, she and another colleague archived all the video equipment. Despite the fact that people around her were planning to leave Afghanistan and tried to persuade her to stop wasting time and leave with them, Nabi chose to stay. Now, let's review the important vocabulary of this section. Let's try to use 3 steps to infer the meaning of the word depressed. First, let's try to understand the sentence. And this also really makes me very sad, very depressed. When we see a word we don't know, and there is and, or a comma before or after it, it might have a similar meaning. So if you know sad means upset, you can infer that depressed is upset as well. Depressed. In the video, the word depressed is the past participle form of depress and is used as an adjective, which means being sad or upset. For example, that makes me depressed. The video also used depress as a verb, which means to make someone upset. For example, that depresses me. There is an important phrase in this section, come into power. Try to use both come into power and by force to make a sentence. Taliban came into power by force. Repeat after me. Taliban came into power by force. There is an important sentence pattern in this section, using that clause as the subject complement. The thing that depresses me is that everyone, the young people, all of them say, "I don't want to stay in this country." There are two that in this sentence. Which one is the subject complement? Firstly, we have to find out the verb of this sentence, which is. The one in front of the verb is the subject, whereas the one behind is the complement. We can see the verb in the section of the subject, so the first that clause is the subject complement. The original subject is the thing, and the clause after that is used to describe the subject. Thus, the subject becomes the thing that depresses me. Try to use a that clause to make a sentence. The reports that Nabi archived are important. Nabi archived mentioned after that is used to provide additional information on the subject, the reports. The things that depress me make me stronger day after day. Depress me mentioned after that is used to provide additional information on the subject, the things. Did you see it? The sentence pattern that clause can be used to better describe the subject. After watching the video and learning the vocabulary, phrases, and sentence patterns, let's review and deepen your memory. The content of this video is: Zahara Nabi was born in Kabul, Afghanistan. She left Afghanistan when she was little due to the civil war. After graduation, despite the opposition of her family, she returned to her homeland alone. At first, she worked as a teacher in a remote region in the north. Later, she entered the media industry and opened Bono TV, a channel providing programs for females, by females, until August 15, 2021, when the Taliban took over. After that, the TV channel was shut down. After the intellectuals and the powerful left Afghanistan one after another, Nabi chose to stand alongside the women staying and continued her job as a journalist, archiving every event taking place in Afghanistan. The important words in the video are homeland, responsibility, broadcast, archive, activist, illiterate, protest, demonstrate, refugee, and depressed. Important phrases and sentence patterns are by force, come into power, if clause as adverbial clause, and that clause as subject complement. Next on, we are broadening your vocabulary. Let's learn vocabulary about this video. In the video, we've learned about the word journalist. If we replace the T at the end with an M, we will get journalism. The suffix ist means the person who, while ism means thought or belief. If we replace the T at the end of activist with an M, we will get activism. If we add the ism at the end of patriot, we will get patriotism. When we learn about the word illiterate, we have mentioned that has the prefix il, which means not, and the suffix ate makes the root into an adjective. If we replace the suffix te with cy in literate, it will become the noun form literacy, which means the ability to read. We also learned about depressed and depress. In this section, we are going to extend it by adding the suffix ion to depress to present it as the noun depression, which is a kind of mental condition. Have you learned those? These words are related to the important words in the video. Hope that they can help you memorize the words. After finishing the video, we have compiled cultural knowledge for you. We can have a rough depiction of the history of how the Taliban took over Afghanistan, according to Zahra Nabi's narrative. In 1995, when Nabi was studying at a primary school in Pakistan, the Taliban launched Battle of Kabul and took control of radio stations in the presidential palace in Kabul, Afghanistan, on September 26, 1996. Until the 9/11 incident that took place in the United States in 2001, the mastermind Osama bin Laden had hid in Afghanistan and was protected by the Taliban. Thus, the United States launched a war against terrorism, marched into Afghanistan, and overthrew the Taliban regime. During these 2 decades, Afghanistan continued promoting gender equality, and there were even TV channels like Bono TV, which aimed at providing services to women. However, in April 2021, the United States announced its withdrawal from Afghanistan. And in August, the U.S. Army completely withdrew from Afghanistan. On August 15th, the Taliban took over Afghanistan. On August 19th, the Taliban announced the establishment of the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. Because the Taliban believes everything about women should be controlled by men, the Ministry for the Propagation of Virtue and the Prevention of Vice has formulated a number of restrictive policies for women. For example, on May 21, 2022, the Taliban regime has ordered that female hosts of TV programs have to cover their entire body, including their face, and is best to wear the traditional burqa. However, in the live broadcast of independent TV stations like Tola News, Shamshad TV, and One TV that day, the female hosts insisted on showing their faces and stated, "If we cover our faces according to the order, we will then be notified to stop our jobs." Thus, they refused to obey the Taliban's order. Unfortunately, since May 26th, the TV program's female hosts compromised to wear a hijab and a veil, and could only show their eyes. The Taliban regime has gradually deprived Afghan women of all kinds of rights. In recent years, the UN Women has continuously called the world to face up to the importance of women's rights and take action to end the Taliban regime's oppression of women. Today's course has come to an end. The content might be heavy, but we hope you still enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.